You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on this Friday. I posted it on social media and I said, you know, I've heard so many times, I've lived here my entire life, I'm 54 years old. Ottawa's boring, I can't wait to get out of this city. Young people are always saying, oh my gosh, it's so boring. It is not boring. There are so many things to do, and today I have a list of events for you and some fabulous guests to tell you all about it. And we start with an incredible event. It's bringing together the business community and the arts community. Here to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Ted Carty, the creator of Capital Professionals Open Mic. Welcome, great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
And the beneficiary, Susan Ingram, of the executive director, of Big Brothers Big Sisters Ottawa. Welcome back, great to have you here.
Thanks.
Susan. Ted, tell me about the idea behind this. You and I briefly discussed it in the green room, but you've always been a part, I guess, both communities, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've always been active in the business community and active in the music community for quite some time, and the idea was just simply born out of me wishing I was somewhere else at a tournament where I was like, I wish I was with some musical people, and conversations in business would always. I can't tell how many times I would be at a golf event. Nothing against golf events, we love them, but I just wanted to try something different. And I'd originally thought about putting it on after the first pandemic wave. Remember we had the little break for a while, and then it was like back to, so.
Don't remind me, but yes.
Exactly,
I remember.
Exactly. And then, the idea sort of stuck with me, and I became a member of an organization called 100 Men Who Care Ottawa, who I'm sure you know of.
Yeah.
And I was having breakfast with one of their members, and I told them, I said, I had this idea for an event. And they thought that was a great event, and they said, you know, we can make sure that you'll move a bunch of tickets because our membership would love to go to something like that.
Nice.
And so Capo was born. We did our first event at the Redbird.
Great
and
venue.
We put together a fantastic lineup of performers. It was a hit. It sold out. We did our next event at the Rainbow. And now we are on a series of them. We're now on Capo 3.
Nice.
Which is the event we're here to talk about.
This is great, and then you wanted to do a charity component as part of this as well, right?
Well, if you're going to get the business community involved, we've got to raise some money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if the business community gets together and has an opportunity to do some networking, so it's valuable to the business community, but it makes puts meaning behind the event if we can come together and raise some money for organizations that are big parts of our own community.
Well, and you've chosen a great charity partner. Everybody, I mean, I don't even think we have to, introduce Big Brothers Big Sisters Ottawa. Everybody knows the name, Susan, but what does it mean to have, third-party events like this for Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Yeah, I was going to say these types of charitable events that are third-party are so important and vital to organizations like ours. Having somebody like Ted go out and organize it, and really the proceeds all coming to us, it makes such a difference than us having to put on the event ourselves and try to figure that out internally as an organization. And at this time, right, like charities are really struggling, and we need as much support as possible. And if that's coming from the corporate community, it's coming from donors, it's coming from our volunteers, but this is the time where all of us really need that support. So we're really, really appreciative and very grateful for this.
Well, and I understand what it's like. I organize one event in my entire life, and I understand where you're coming from. Organizing an event is like, it's a year-long thing to do. So when you have partners like Ted, coming together, and the 100 Men coming together, it makes a huge difference. As I said, everyone knows Big Brothers Big Sisters Ottawa, but if you're living under a rock and they're not familiar with the great work you do, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So for those of people that don't know, we've been in the city. It's 54 years this year, and we serve young people facing adversity, ages 6 to 24. And one of the things that we do the best is we provide mentorship for those young people, and that's really providing a role model to them. It can be an adult, it can be a high school student, it can be, we have multiple programs across the city, and one of the big things that we know is those young people who need those role models, they give back to the community afterwards, right?
Yeah.
They become, as adults, they want to give back, they want to volunteer, they graduate from high school, they get jobs, they are active in their communities. And so, you know, this type of programming that we've been doing for so many years is really important to the City of Ottawa.
Yeah, agreed. Ted, how did you choose who was going to be a part of each of these events?
Well, actually, the credit goes to Carrie Run, who is, you know, many people in the business community already know, and she was at my last event, and she was doing some work with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So she said, would I consider it? And I said, absolutely. And she went further than that, and she said, well, we'll help you promote the event. And so with Carrie behind us, the sky's the limit, right? So.
It made it pretty easy for bands to reach out.
Blues Fest is nervous right now. They're like, don't steal our thunder.
I love it.
I would say the other thing that's quite interesting, because the showcases will continue twice a year, so the application process is always open, and we try to make sure everybody who applies gets an opportunity to perform. But we did have a number of applicants who came through the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Ottawa program in one form or another, either as bigs or littles, right? Yeah. So I thought that was fantastic, which really brings the cause together with the effect, so to speak, right?
Can you tell us a little bit of who's performing, different styles of music we might see this time around?
We're going to organize it into sort of 3 chunks. The first part of it will be, we've got some singer-songwriters, so we're going to do you know what a guitar pull is? It's sort of like a song in the round. It's sort of a concept. You probably, And so we'll have a singer-songwriter section. We'll do another cover, sort of campfire cover section, and then we've got some bands. There's a number of people who are there from the community. They'll all be promoting it. They'll each get some personalized posters for it as well too. But I'd also like to mention our co-host for the event as well too is Tara Shannon has decided to join us as well
person,
too. So
amazing
I'm really excited about that as well too.
I'm not surprised to hear that. As soon as I saw her name, I thought, wow, you know,
that's credibility.
Best selection right there. Exactly. Still sponsorship opportunities? Are you looking for more?
We've mentioned it out. You know, I'm part of the business community. A number of the people involved are. Many of the performers are, so they get an opportunity to push that sponsorship out. When we're looking for sponsorship, what we're looking for is we've got some special things for the sponsors. But the sponsors are making a donation directly to the charity, so it's not going through us. What we're going to do is the Rainbow is helping us with the ticket sales. When we take the total value of that, we'll transfer that over.
Fantastic.
And that's great. And the date of that, by the way, is April 5th, Friday, April 5th. It starts at 7 p.m. We'll probably go 10:30, 11, I think. We've got a really great headlining band.
Nice.
Without spilling the beans, we've got a headliner who is also very integral in saving the rainbow. So keep an eye open for that.
Nice.
But you can get tickets at capomusic.ca.
Yeah.
Or you can also get tickets at the Rainbow Bistro's website as well too. But capomusic.ca, buy tickets will take you directly there.
Fantastic. And by the way, this is guaranteed to sell out. So that's why we're on the show this early talking about something that's happening in April. So make sure you get your tickets. If people can't make it out, Susan, if they want to make a donation to Big Brothers Big Sisters, simply visit the website. It's the best place.
Yeah, bbbso.ca. Come to the website, and it's pretty easy to make the donation. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you for having me.
A real pleasure.
Thanks.
Again, I know Ted just mentioned it, but a reminder to everybody at home, it's happening Rainbow Bistro, April the 5th, starts at 7 p.m. Yeah, it might go longer than 10:30, 11. You never know. capomusic.ca for your tickets. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Joel Haslam. As you know, February is Heart Month, and once again, I have the privilege of sharing 4 stories from patients at the world-renowned University of Ottawa Heart Institute. They'll talk about their extraordinary experiences of survival, thanks to doctors, nurses, and the entire healthcare team at the Institute. To support life-saving work, to watch these stories, go to februaryisheartmonth.ca.
「 February is Heart Month, and once again I have the privilege of sharing 4 stories from patients at the World-Renowned University of Ottawa Heart Institute. They'll talk about their extraordinary experiences of survival, thanks to doctors, nurses, and the entire healthcare team at the Institute. To support life-saving work, to watch these stories, go to februaryisheartmonth.ca. Some of Canada's most interesting and accomplished people share their lives, careers, insights, and stories each week on Canada Files. I'm Valerie Pringle, and I'll be speaking with economist Mark Carney, actor Eugene Levy, author Louise Penny, and architect Moshe Safdie, among others. I hope you can join us.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to RogersTV.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at RogersTV.com.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. I was introduced to this event just a few years ago, and last year I had the great pleasure of emceeing the event, and they're celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. It is called La Serata Italiana, and they have a theme each and every year, and this year's theme is The Greatest Show. Here to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Dr. Dylan Berger. He is with the Kidney Research Center at the Ottawa Hospital. Welcome, Dr. Berger. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Real pleasure. You've been a part, we were just talking, and you've been a part of this event, and you sit on the committee as well. Tell me a little bit about your introduction to the event.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. I was involved because I work at the Kidney Research Center, and I'm a scientist there. And I went to the first event, and you go to a gala event, and you assume it's going to be sort of a sterile gala event, and this one is not. It's not. It is a party. They close it down. You have to tear them off the dance floor. And I had so much fun that the next day I emailed the chair of the conference and said, I want to be involved. I want to help in whatever way I can. And so I've been about 7-8 years now involved.
Well, and I've been hosting and emceeing events for 20 years, and I meant this honestly when I said to the group last year, it was the most organized event I have ever been a part of, and that's the hats off to the Italian community as well. They put on an event, and if something's going to be on time, it is going to be on time. They do such an amazing job. Let's talk about where the money goes, obviously in memory of Agostino, and this is research that is so important. What do you do at the research center?
Yeah, so at the Kidney Research Center, we're working on a number of things, all about improving the lives of those living with kidney disease. We're working on new treatments. We're working on new diagnostic tests that help guide care. We're working on improving the quality of transplant for the process of transplant for transplant recipients. So we have over 60 scientists. So we're touching on many areas: pediatric kidney disease, adult kidney disease, all causes, and so really huge scope. And the thing about the funds is we're all competitive in getting grant money from the government. We're competitive in getting grant money from Kidney Foundation, other sources. What these funds do is they sort of allow us to fill in the gaps. And so this is things like getting new equipment in that allows us to be competitive with the biggest labs in the world and keep our research groundbreaking. It allows us recruiting scientists. So part of my recruitment when I came to Ottawa came from funds like this and allowing us to bring in new scientists to sort of continue to advance that research. So they're absolutely critical. And then beyond that, there's an endowment that's been established for the Kidney Foundation that pays for patient programs and scholarships for trainees as well. So really, there's just an incredible legacy in this event.
No kidding. And I imagine there's a lot of misconceptions about kidney disease itself. I mean, what are some of the causes of kidney disease that some people may not even be familiar with?
Yeah, so the two leading causes are diabetes and high blood pressure. And those two causes are far and away most common causes. And so because of that, often you don't know you have kidney disease, right? If you have diabetes and you're being screened for diabetes regularly, then chances are you'll know if you're developing kidney disease. But if you don't, and there's a significant portion of people that don't, then you may not know you have kidney disease coming from that diabetes, and the same is true for high blood pressure. Other causes, there are some genetic causes or trauma. If you have shock or that sort of thing, you can have traumatic
So it's
injury.
a fairly silent disease then?
It is until it's not, right? So the kidneys clear toxins from your blood, and as long as you have some kidney function, usually you can get by and you have mild symptoms that may or may not show up. Maybe your blood pressure goes up, something like that.
Right.
But once it advances to kidney failure, then it can become serious very quickly, overnight almost, where you're at risk of heart problems, you're at risk of you have cognitive decline, that sort of thing, because all these toxins begin to accumulate in your blood, and then it's a matter of needing a transplant or needing dialysis, where you have a machine that cleans your blood for you.
A lot of advancements, I imagine, in treatments, though, over the last decade?
Yeah, absolutely. For probably 30 years, there wasn't any treatments that really improve the lives of individuals with kidney disease. In the last probably 5 or 6 years, there's been 2 or 3 drugs that have really started to emerge that are really effective at delaying progression to kidney failure. And that's a big deal, because going from kidney disease to kidney failure is an incredible transition in people's lives. And so there's a number of drugs that are coming out like that. The transplant experience has improved profoundly. I have a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, who was transplanted first in 1984, same year as the beginning of the gala event, and he'd been transplanted 3 times, and he said every time it's been an easier process, a more comfortable process, a quicker recovery.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, right? The money that's been raised. By the way, $1.3 million over the last 40 years. And for people that haven't been in, let's go into the details of this year's event. I mentioned that theme, but what else can people expect at the event?
Yeah, you're going to expect. First of all, you're going to expect incredible food. That is, it's tested every year. The committee is very serious about that. I've had the opportunity to go to the taste testings, and it's always amazes me how serious they take it. So the food's going to be incredible.
Nice.
There's going to be live entertainment. There's going to be dancing throughout the night. In between courses, people are dancing. After courses, people are dancing throughout the night. There's silent auction with an incredible number of items, really exciting items this year. And I think just the people, you're going to find that the people are so open and engaging, and you're going to be drawn into getting up on the dance floor, even if you're not the type of person that does.
Well, and Dr. Berger's right, because when he says dancing between courses, he's not kidding, because they always have a fabulous duo. Heart and Soul can't be back this year, unfortunately, but Duo Oz, and if you've never seen them before, another fantastic duo, and that duo will probably start things off and get people dancing between those courses, and then they've got a great DJ Momentum will be taking us right through till, they kick us off the dance floor, as you said. Do you collect funds throughout like if people wanted to donate and they can't make it out to this, can they donate directly to the research
if
center?
you go to the website, it's on the Kidney Foundation of Canada website. You just search Italian Night Gala Ottawa. There is a button for donating as well, so you can donate funds directly there. They'll go to the same funds as the funds raised for the event.
Fantastic. Well, I'll see you at the event then.
Absolutely.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing you at home as well. It's happening at the Ottawa Conference and Event Center Saturday, March 2nd. It kicks off at 5:30 p.m. with a cocktail hour, and it goes to the wee hours of the morning. You can call 613-296-2660 for tickets, and we brought up the website as well. I'll remind you at the end of the show. We'll be right back with another event to tell you about right after this. Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you, pal.
This is a brain in urgent need of mental health care. But because 3 out of every 4 Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, she may not get the help she needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
I don't care what the law is. I will never be a slave. That word, I hate it. It rests on my tongue like rot.
Peter, how does it feel to get paid for your work?
There are rumors freedom's coming for us all.
Freedom, you know that's all I want.
Chloe, careful. Real men would rather sell you across the river to America than let you go free.
Then I'll run. I've run before. Maybe this time for good.
Just get her into the boat. No! Chloe? Chloe, no!
Word of Chloe Cooley's resistance led to Canada's first legislation limiting slavery. After 200 years, slavery was abolished in Canada in 1834.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform.
Welcome back to the show. As promised, back to tell you about another amazing event. And if you love comedy, this is comedy like you've never seen before. It is probably one of the most unique events when it comes to comedy I've ever heard of. I'm joined by Todd Van Allen. He's comedian and host of Write 'em Up. Welcome, Todd. Great
Pleasure
to
to
have
be
you
here. Thank you for having me.
I was just telling you, I tried comedy out in my early 20s, and it was ruining my life because of panic attacks, and I couldn't handle it.
As someone who's done it for over 20 years, it doesn't change.
It doesn't change.
There is
no
good. End to the
okay,
ruin.
so I'm not alone.
No.
But how did you get into comedy, Todd?
I was growing up in Gananoque, shout out, and
Nice.
I remember actually we came here as a family for a trip, and we saw Jay Leno perform at the NAC.
You're kidding.
And I was 16 at the time, so that was years ago, and I just saw it and I went, oh, I didn't realize he could do that. And just watching him perform for like over an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, doing crowd work with the first 3 rows of the audience, and just blew my mind. It was like, well, I got to try that.
Are you interactive with your comedy?
No,
with
they can stay away from me as far as I'm concerned. I just have absolutely no time for people.
No time for people.
No, I love talking with them. It's like, it's like I'm not all crowd work. In fact, the guy who when we talk about the show, Jimmy Pardo, who had the initial thought for what eventually became Write 'em Up.
Okay.
He is all crowd work. He has like 3 jokes. You go and see his show. You see all 3 jokes, and the rest of it is all like, stupid hat. You know, like
right. So let's go to that. The origins of this show. Tell me about the origins, how it began.
There's a comedian, great comic originally from Chicago, lives in LA, called Jimmy Pardo. And he had this show, and it went through several names, like Jimmy Needs Jokes or The Writer's Room or something like that. It's the exact same concept. And the concept is he hosts the show, brings up some stand-up comedians, they perform. That should be enough.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what we're all used to
People should go
seeing.
home happy.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Get off my back. But no, what we do is we have a team of writers that are writing roast jokes about everything the comedian does. So then the comedian goes away, and for Write 'em Up, I grab the roast jokes and I read them to the audience verbatim, providing anonymity and emotional distance for the writers.
Okay.
And so whatever they write, I have to say.
Okay.
And the roasts, they go like that. So it's you kind of get 2 levels of fun.
Interesting.
For the show.
So did any of the comedians not care for some of the roasting?
I've had 2.
Really?
I have had 2.
Did they approach you after?
In 8 years, I had 1 approach and 1 just darted. That was it. Yes.
No way.
Out of 8 years of doing the show in Toronto, I've only had 2 things. And people, like, when people start seeing the show, they go, I will get comics that, like, I want on. You know, I want to do this because they're into it. And what I didn't realize is when I moved here, we moved here at the top of the pandemic, at a time when we didn't know how it was going to kill you yet, right? Like we were lemon wiping the dog, pineapples in the dishwasher. That's how we lived. So we have been here since. And, you know, people were asking me back in Toronto, hey, what's the comedy scene like here? I went, no idea. It shut down. So as things started to reopen, I started to introduce myself into the community, and we have a great comedy community here. It is. It's
absolutely.
But the thing the night that I got invited to like the Ottawa Comedy Awards. Okay. And it's this kind of big night. Yeah. And it's a roast show. Like it's like a Dean Martin style roast, except vicious.
It is, isn't it? Right?
It is.
Because I mean, I love the Dean Martin roast. Like my wife and I still go back and watch some of them. And you watch the ones today. I mean, it's vile, vicious. Like there are no holds barred. Like
no.
Nothing is left unturned.
Correct.
Right? And is this the same?
No.
Okay.
When people say like, is it really bad? I'm like, I describe it as Nuremberg trial if it was done with Care Bears. Like it's the worst any comedian is going to get is you should quit comedy, which they won't because as you know, you were a testament to. So as soon as you try it, you go nope. But the ones that are going to do it are going to do it anyway. So that's the worst you'll get. Or nice sweater, something like that. So it's always jokes about what they're wearing. Jokes that tanked, themes like themes of jokes, that sort of thing. So it's always in the moment. There's no historical things like, hey, yeah, you stole my boyfriend. Like none of that.
Right.
So it's it really is kind of a lovely self-contained evening of roasts and comedy. So the thing I like about it the best is that the audience is in the room for it. So they like a friend of mine in Toronto. He had just released his album, and I went, oh, he's a great candidate for this show. It's like, you want to come on? He goes, absolute. And I thought he's going to do great. He bombed like I have never seen him bomb before.
I guess because you're nervous, right? Because you know that there's really professional comedian writers, comedy writers that are sitting there, and they're going to be tearing you apart in minutes.
The funniest thing is like normally like when you get audiences, oh, I don't want to sit in the front, they'll make fun of me. And I will say to the people, you have no worries this evening. You are the least you are not in their consciousness, right? They're looking at these three people writing over here going, what? Like you'll hear someone like tank a joke and they go, that's being written up. And sure enough, it'll be it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do any of the comedians ever poke fun at the writers?
Absolutely they do.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And then, but the writer always has the last word, so it's never great.
That could be tricky.
My favorite is when you accidentally book a writer that has a problem with the comic, and I didn't know this. These two had a backstory, and I didn't know. The stack of roasts was like, okay, volume 3 going out. He is really taking a beating tonight.
Who are some of the comedians performing? Can you?
We have Simone Holder, Owen McGowan, Brad Dwaron, Fabio Ricci, and Emmett Morrison are my comics, and the writers are Brenda McKeegan, Melanie Page, and Tavis Maple.
So you're not writing or performing?
I am hosting the show.
Look at how lucky you are.
I am merely the conduit. I am the vessel for all of the abuse.
Have you ever been involved in either of those?
When we did it online. Because when we had our 4th and 5th anniversary shows online because the no venues were open. Right. So we just went, okay, well, we'll do it. So we did it on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and all those things. And so when I was doing my stuff, the way that the roast would come to me is on my phone. So they'd text me. Okay. So I would have these texts, and so as I was starting the show, they went, well, looks like we have some beginners. So it was like they would roast me.
Awesome.
So it was great.
Todd, real pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back with more events coming up here on the show. Don't go anywhere.
Like most of Canada's film and media industries, Todd's studio is mostly straight and white. But by pledging to check their privilege, Todd Studio can now help fund programs to finally create a more diverse talent pool. And Todd, you can stop hiding behind this plan. What?
Actually, I'm in the vents.
Stop hiding from our industry's lack of diversity and pledge to help POV fix it. Go to checkyourprivilege.ca.
On Rogers TV.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
Join us for the new season of Ottawa Storytellers, right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. You will probably recognize my next guest because she was the first player in Canadian history to score a goal in World Cup soccer, and sports has been a huge part of her life for her entire life, and she continues with that, with the Good Games. And here to tell us more about that, I'm joined by Helen Strombus. She's the founder and CEO of the Good Games. Great to have you here.
Thanks for
having me. I went and watched back that goal, by the way, about 6 times last night.
Yeah.
Does it go back in your memory often, thinking about that goal? I mean, because it was so incredible. It's not just the first goal. I mean, it was spectacular.
It was directly off a corner kick, and I will say, everybody says it was an accident. It really wasn't. I scored a lot of goals off of corner kicks. And the day before, I actually told my roommate, I can score off of corner kicks.
It was like you bent it like Beckman before Beckman bent it.
Exactly.
Beckham, sorry.
Actually, we didn't even know. I don't think I knew it was the first goal for Canada, probably until 6 months after I got home.
Really?
Well, no, we didn't talk about it back then. Nobody really followed sport. Nobody was at our games. You kind of scored the goal we were losing.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, somebody asked me, do you know who scored the first goal for Canada in the World Cup? And I was like, no, who? And they're like, you. I was like, oh, I had no idea.
I mentioned sport's been important to you your entire life. When did you get it? How young were you when you got into sport?
I probably started around, I was a late starter, 10 or 11 years old is when I started, and soccer was kind of, just what my heart wanted, and I knew I loved it, and my mom would tell me, when are you going to learn to cook and clean and be a good housewife? Because I was playing soccer all the time. I was like, no, I'm going to play soccer, Mom.
Good for you. And I guess that's the inspiration behind the Good Games. Tell me, what's the origin story of this?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm a Guelphite born and raised, and, Guelph has these incredible sports facilities that, not a lot of people know about, and I've been there my whole life, and kind of came across the idea of creating a sporting event in Guelph, something to kind of bring people to see what we have to offer there, because it's a great city. And so slowly started to develop something called the Good Games. It was called the Guelph Games originally.
Okay.
And the Good Games are kind of 2 parts. It's got a sports competition, so athletes can kind of come and compete. It's kind of like an Olympic Games, but for everybody and anybody.
Right.
And then it's got a festival portion too, where the festival itself is free to attend. It's got lots of family-friendly activities. I kind of look at it as the Calgary Stampede, but for sports. So, the Calgary Stampede has the rodeo that you can compete in, but it also has a festival that everybody comes to attend. Well, ours has sports competitions and then a festival that everybody can come attend. And the festival's kind of a really cool, unique experience because it's all very sport-focused. So nobody's really doing anything like it, and everybody that's attended it has said kind of the same thing, that they've never experienced anything, because you can come watch, experience kind of some of the activations we have. So we run the Canadian Freestyle Soccer Championships at our event. The Canadian National Pickleball League, which is the Pro Pickleball League, are playing at our event this summer. We host an elite beach volleyball competition that last year had former Olympians, pros, national champions, and we built a beach court right in the middle of the festival, so we brought in tons of sand.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a really...
I'm seeing arm wrestling here.
Oh, yeah, we've got arm wrestling, anything that really gets people to be active. And you can, do whatever you want, cornholes, just kind of, it's fun. We had a slow pitch competition. This year we're featuring 10 different sports. Okay. And we do have a partnership this year with the Indigenous Sport and Wellness Council of Ontario
and they're going to be running some Indigenous activations, so some cultural and sports activations, and they're also running an archery competition. So we're one of their stops on the road to the Indigenous Masters game. So it's a really kind of unique event, I think, and we want to welcome everybody to come. I think people that came last year said they'd never experienced anything like it. So they were like, we've never seen anything like this, because we set up obstacle courses. We went back to traditional, three-legged races and like the fun backyard picnic games. And you would be surprised how many people just want to participate and be active.
And I'm glad you mentioned those things as sport. Right? Because a lot of people, when they think sport, right, they go to major league sports, comes in their mind right away, right, in those top 4 or 5 sports in the world. But sport is more than that.
It's just movement. It's really just about getting active. And I think the beautiful thing about what we've seen the last couple of years we've run it is nobody's on their phones. Like everybody's out there just participating. And, we even put up a big inflatable 3v3 soccer field. And I thought, I don't know if, it's going to be used. It was packed the entire day. Like I was shocked. And then we had a rugby showcase, and I thought, well, how many kids are going to want to like learn some rugby skills? And it was again packed. I was surprised. So, I mean, we want to welcome a lot of different activities. So I know pickleball is going to have like a pickleball court right in the festival area. You can try it. We're working.
Yeah, my wife and I picked it up 3 years ago.
Great sport, right?
We've got a court that's like a bike ride away.
Totally,
right?
biggest growing sport in the world. Road tennis. There's going to be road tennis. We've got dodgeball. You can learn dodgeball. You can learn walking soccer, which is a newish sport.
Walking soccer.
Yeah,
what
it's
is
like
that?
Well, it probably is good for me because I can't run anymore.
You're in good shape. Come on.
I have a bad knee, but walking soccer you can't run. You can only walk, and you can only touch the ball 3 times. Apparently, it's all the rage in Europe.
Interesting.
So we're running a big walking soccer competition on Saturday, and they're going to do a showcase on Sunday where people can learn how to play.
That sounds great.
I'll tell you the coolest thing, I think. We opened up a women's soccer registration earlier than any of the other sports.
Okay.
We have 14 teams coming, 2 from Ottawa.
Okay, excellent.
12 from all across the United States, from Hawaii to Florida and everything in between. Wow. And this is the best part. They're all over 50, over 65, and over 70. We have 80-year-olds coming from San Diego, California to play soccer. And the funniest part, they want 2 40-minute halves. Like, I thought they're going to want like 2 15-minute, 20-minute halves. No, they're adamant. They're coming to play.
So you're literally talking about, 2-year-olds to 95-year-olds are coming and going to be competing in a sport in some way, whether they're, part of that competition or part of the festival, trying something new.
Yeah.
What a great concept.
It's so fun. And the sport competition is one area. Originally, the festival, we were creating it for the athletes, and we realized everybody wanted to be at the festival. So now the festival's for everyone, which is why I always say the best way to think about it is the Stampede. Everybody goes to the Stampede. You don't have to be a cowboy.
Yeah.
But everybody goes to
and sport is a game changer. I can tell you, for my parents, someone that's hyperactive like myself, you probably can't tell. They got me into sport, and it changed my life. It really, and changed their lives too, actually.
Yeah.
Helen, thank you so much.
Thanks
really
for having
appreciate it. The Good Games, University of Guelph, July 5th to 7th. The sports competitions 5th to 7th. The festival the 6th and 7th. The Good.Games to find out more information. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, can I take your order? Hello?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. 1 driving high combo, extra baked?
No. Could I get a burger with a side of fries?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Mad Canada.
Heartbeat of Mother Earth, I feel you and embrace your warmth. I see you dancing through the trees. Your song floats on the summer breeze. Community, we come together. We are the voice of our ancestors. Thankful for how much you bless us. Feel the thunder in the drum. All our voices sing as one. Feel the power, feel the pride. Feel the drumbeat deep inside. Feel the boom, feel the bass. Let's let go of time and space. It'll make you dance, it'll make you sing. Ode Wegun, Wedok Wishin. The drum will lead you, take you far. Always remember who you are.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Welcome back to the show. Now, this might be a little unusual because I've got two guests on the show that, you know, are coming on for different reasons, but then I found out that they are the best of friends, and I approached them in the green room and said, hey guys, why don't you come on together, because I saw you on Fatty's podcast and you had this dynamic relationship going, so let's keep that dynamics going here on my show, and they agreed. Sarwar Qureshi is founder of Beyond Networking and a CPA with Patterson & Company. Welcome back. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
And Fatty Kuder is a real estate agent with the Kuder Real Estate Group and host of the Canada on the Rocks show on YouTube. Welcome. Yeah. Great to have you guys here. So tell me, Sarwar, how did you two meet? How do you two know each other?
Funny story, actually. We met at the Christmas event. My girlfriend is actually one of his clients, and that's how we kind of met, and then we just became the best of friends.
And you know what? Can Dave, if you're listening, or Ian, can we roll the video before we get into this conversation? Because this is the reason why I wanted to have these two on. Let's have a look at the video here.
And today we are joined by my bromance, the guy, the man, Sarwar. And Sarwar is actually a partner at Patterson & Company. Also, Sarwar is in charge of this amazing networking group that I've been part of for the last year or so. It's called Beyond Networking. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
It's been a while.
My wife tells me I talk to you more than I talk to her sometimes.
That is actually true. I was just checking out my text messages, and I think Sarwar and I do at least 2 to 3 texts a day.
You guys just 100%.
And that's been going on for about a year now, and I'm loving it. I couldn't have like one of the best brothers I've ever gained, to be honest.
I appreciate it.
With that said, Sarwar, I just wanted to kind of dig in a little bit more about, well, we're going to start off, if you don't mind, with Patterson & Company. Let people know about your firm, what you guys do, how long you've been in business, and what services do you offer.
So we're a small boutique accounting firm. Our office is in Westboro, but we can work with people remotely, virtually, anywhere. And
so, as you can see, these guys have a great relationship. And Fatty, let's talk about that podcast. You started this new podcast. What was the inspiration behind that?
You know what? It's something that you bring up all the time. Ottawa is not a boring city.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of bring to the audience and to the city and the folks that I'm dealing with in real estate that, look, this is a fantastic city. There's so much to do. There's so many great businesses out there. And what I wanted to do with the show is bring a voice to these businesses so they can be heard. So every week we feature a new business, we bring them on, we let them kind of talk about their business, the struggles, how they built it, what they've done with it, where it's going next, and then just kind of put it out there and let the folks kind of talk about it.
Well, and Sarwar, that's exactly what you're doing with your networking events, right? I mean, this speaks exactly to what Fatty's talking about, is you wanted to bring businesses together. You wanted to do it differently, not like every other networking event that you'd been to before. Tell us a little bit about Beyond Networking and sort of your origin story.
Yeah, the origin story kind of talks about small businesses, in some cases, that may want to do things, but if they're too small, the example I like to use is if you're a small business of 1, 2, or 3 people, you may not be able to have a holiday party like we used to when we worked together.
Yeah.
You know, big banquet hall, big dinner, entertainment. You kind of need a critical mass to be able to do that. So I thought, if we can get these people together, we can do some of those activities they could not on their own, and we do a little bit of community building, a little bit of networking. when you meet someone, who knows what will happen? That's really like a limitless outcome with networking. You meet the right person, they could become a customer, they could become a vendor, they could become a business partner, a friend. Who knows?
But you wanted to do it in a unique way, not the same way that perhaps you've been to. Listen, I've been to, some networking events where, there's the tables around the room and you walk around the room and you exchange business cards, and that's all well and good, but you wanted to have a little bit more fun doing it, right?
Yeah, so the thing that I did, which I thought is a bit more unique, is I introduced a team building icebreaker sort of thing to that whole event. And 3 days ago, we had an event at Level 1, which used to be called The Loft.
Yeah.
If you've never been, think of a giant coffee shop with 1,000 board games.
Right.
Now, when you get there and you sit down at a table, 3 or 4 people at the table, you might not know them. The server comes over, asks people about their interests, and then all of a sudden, Ticket to Ride, Exploding Kittens, Connect 4. One of these games shows up at your table, you start playing. A lot of the barriers that come from typical networking events and connecting with people melt away.
Yeah.
Because now you're in such a relaxed state, you're sharing a little bit more, you're a little bit more comfortable, and that really helps further the relationship.
In fact, I see you're nodding your head because you've been to some of these events, right?
So one of the things that we do at those networking events, him and I, is like we cannot go to that event without taking a selfie. It's our ritual that we do quite often.
Nice.
And the beauty about it is like you're talking to everybody as like a small little community, right? And everybody's helping everybody. Like I've picked up many clients from those networking events just by the fact that they know what I do.
Yeah.
By coming there, and because it's such a relaxed atmosphere, nobody feels like they have to do business with you, but they want to do business with you.
Yeah, I want to dive into what each of you do. Your area of expertise, obviously a real estate agent. Tell me why. What makes you different from other agencies out there?
Well, I'll give you for starters, for example, I came in from a background like my home country now is under invasion, Gaza. Don't want to get into politics, but just to kind of give you an idea, for me, real estate means a lot.
Yeah.
And being able to get someone in a home and keep them in that home is a must for me. So one of the things we do is, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do, what your budget is, we want to talk about the core, how you want to get in there, what's the plan. If it's going to be this year, next year, 10 years from now, we want to get you there. The other thing that my team and I do, for example, this morning we went out door knocking.
Okay.
You will hardly meet anybody in real estate that does door knocking in the middle of the winter.
I rarely have. I've seen the real estate agent, drop off the flyer, but not knock on my door.
I am that guy. I was going to walk in every single door, knock on the door, and I'm telling them about something that just happened in the neighborhood, about a property that just sold, multiple offers, and what have you. And luckily, we were able to get a list of buyers that are qualified, ready to go for the next one. So we're going out. We're trying to harvest a new property for them.
Interesting. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more too about how you work, whether you're a team or an individual, and it is tax season, Sarwar. So Sarwar is a CPA, so I want to pick your brain a little bit on that. We'll be back with the two of them right after this. Sarwar and Fatty, don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Joel Haslam. As you know, February is Heart Month, and once again, I have the privilege of sharing 4 stories from patients at the world-renowned University of Ottawa Heart Institute. They'll talk about their extraordinary experiences of survival, thanks to doctors, nurses, and the entire healthcare team at the Institute. To support life-saving work, to watch these stories, go to februaryisheartmonth.ca.
Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to RogersTV.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at RogersTV.com.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform.
Welcome back to the show. Back with my guests Sarwar and Fadi, and as you know, they're both professionals. So I wanted to take advantage. I know we've had some fun, but also wanting to pick their brains. Fadi, when it comes to real estate right now, you know, when you're looking at the landscape, we've been talking about the housing crisis. You know, getting a lot of media attention. What are your thoughts on the Ottawa market at the moment? How would you describe the market?
The Ottawa market is very healthy right now. It's actually in a state where it's just about to crack. And especially now with the interest rate being sort of held, a lot of people are getting that consumer confidence is coming back up. And we're seeing a lot of properties, especially on the lower end, you know, between the 500 to 600, 650 or so. Those are the entrance properties, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of them getting multiple offers and you know, people coming back to the table. It became now the normal. Like, this is the normal interest rate, you know, that 2 years ago, that the rates, they're never going to come back. Those are just...
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, do you think those rates were completely unrealistic? Like, should we have a set rate that it should never go under a certain amount?
That's the thing. When you do if things like this and you change the rate for quite some time, which was a measure from the government to kind of stimulate the economy and what have you, bring people back to purchasing, it kind of sets the stage differently, and then the standards become a little bit lower, if you will.
Right.
It's kind of like, you know, drinking something really, really sweet and then trying to drink something that's not. That's kind of where it's at. So now we got to go back to the normal market.
Right. Yeah, agreed. Sarwar, I wanted to pick I'd said tax season, and I don't know if the audio picked up on me as we went to break. I said, oh, thank goodness I'm no longer dealing with tax season, because Sarwar and I actually worked together at GGFL down the street. My dad was a senior partner there, and I worked there for 18 years. And tax season, like, when it comes to, you know, this time of year, you guys, you lock the doors, and I'm surprised you're even here. But I guess you're not. I guess it's not like crunch time, right? April's crunch time, right? What advice do you give to? I guess do them earlier rather than later, right?
That's a great piece of advice. I'd say when it comes to taxes, start getting your ducks in order, so that when April comes around, you're not scrambling. Where's that donation receipt? Where's that childcare receipt? You know, give it some thought. February, March. Start getting those things in order, April 30th being the deadline.
Yeah.
And that way, because some things you might need to track down. Hey, I didn't get a receipt from my childcare provider.
Right.
I got to send an email. It might take a week to get the information back from them. And you don't want to be dealing with that the last week of April.
Yeah, and I always laughed when you had somebody, you know, sort of drop off the box that was just full of papers that were completely disorganized. And I always laughed to myself, do you really want to pay your accountant to do the filing for you? Right? To go through all of your paperwork and, you know, put them in order and that sort of thing. What about, you know, people, there's a lot of people working from home now, right? And they're working for themselves. They have longer, obviously, right? They have a longer period of time before they can, but what should they be thinking about now that they have that home office? What are some of the things that come to mind?
So there's a little bit more data entry and record keeping required. Okay. If someone is self-employed, if someone is working from home and able to claim the home office deduction, they might need to do things like creating a spreadsheet, tracking their utility bills, tracking their property tax. The person who's not self-employed might not care to track that information because they're not going to do anything or claim it. The person who is self-employed, the person who is working from home, that amount and those deductions can be significant. We want to have all of that information organized.
Right.
When time comes, we get those deductions, get a little bit of tax savings, and, you know, relief.
Fatty, when it comes to real estate and you're getting into the market, I know young people are really nervous about this, this particular time in their lives, and they may not see an opportunity. They're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get into the market. What do you say to young people these days?
The best thing is to get yourself prepared, and to get yourself prepared is you set up with a financial advisor or with a mortgage broker and also an agent. And don't go with the adage of, oh, I don't want to hire an agent. It's actually beneficial for you to hire an agent on the buyer side, especially knowing that you're not going to pay them anything. It's normally the seller that pays. And what that allows is it allows for you to kind of just get your ducks in a row, right? A lot of the times what we'll find is when first-time home buyers come into us, they're not even ready. And we have to kind of push them back and go, hey, look, you should have done this 6 months ago. You need to have your taxes done. You need to have, for example, your last years of NOAs. Cold sour for that, and then get all that stuff done before you show up to have the meeting with the mortgage broker to get yourself ready. And a lot of times they might have bad credit and they don't know that. This kind of allows them the time to maybe fix it and get their stuff in order to be able to kind of just go out and purchase a property. Talk about down payments. Talk about all of that stuff before. Get yourself ready. So when the time comes, you're actually ready.
Yeah, so you're not looking at a house and all of a sudden, oh my God, this is the house for us, and I'm scrambling and trying to put everything together.
And one of the things we always try to do is, look, it doesn't matter. We know that you're not ready. At least sit down with us for this free consultation. It's not going to cost you anything. Worst case scenario, you get a free coffee out of it.
Sarwar, I've got less than 60 seconds. You've got your next event coming up in March. Tell me about it.
The event in March, it's called the Royal Ramadan Soiree.
Okay.
Early March to early April is the month of Ramadan, which is an important month for Muslims. And we thought, let's do an event that brings in a little bit of networking with a little bit of culture with a good cause. We're going to be working with a charity that supports kids with autism.
Excellent.
Combining those three things together, doing an event on March 14th, and people can join us if they're interested.
Where do they go if they want to register or get tickets?
They can find me on Instagram at Beyond Networking. They can find me on LinkedIn, Sarwar Qureshi. They can find us on Facebook. If they reach out using any of those mediums, I'll get in touch with them directly and get them.
You can find Fatty, by the way, on all that social media, and you can check out his YouTube show as well, Canada on the Rocks. We'll be back right after this.
On Rogers TV.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
Oh boy, we got a lot of events to wrap up with on the show today on this Friday. Let's start with an event that I will be emceeing on March the 2nd. That is at the Ottawa Conference and Event Center. It is called La Serata Italiana Presents the greatest show raising funds for kidney research. You can get your tickets at 613-296-2660. Would love to see you there. Again, March 2nd, cocktails begin at 5:30. The Capital Professionals Open Mic event at the Rainbow. That's happening on April 5th. It will sell out, so make sure you get your tickets. You can go to capomusic.ca for more information about that. And of course, you can donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters Ottawa by visiting their website, bbbso.ca. Write them up at Absolute Comedy. This sounds like one of the best comedy shows I've ever heard of. That's February 29th at 8:30 p.m. You can get tickets at absolutecomedy.ca. They're located down there on Preston Street. And the Good Games, that's happening in Guelph at the University University of Guelph from July 5th to the 7th. It has an amazing festival, lots of fun sports to get involved with. Find out all the info at thegood.games. Have a fabulous weekend, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Thank you.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Karen. I'm here with my best friends Shane and Monique. Join us on Rogers TV for Fitness Faction. Every week we're going to take you through a full body workout. We've got strength training, we've got cardio, we've got HIIT. Ladies, let's get back into it.
I think we've got 10 more skaters. Let's go.
Anyone can show up with a hammer and build something. It's really hard to build it properly.
Sewage air is coming out of this.
There's